Hello, this is Jim Dickey. I want to welcome you to another briefing in our Sales Transformation in Action education series. Now in this session, we'll be exploring new innovations in AI that are fundamentally redefining how companies can deal with the never-ending challenge of reinforcing and enforcing new skills across the sales force. As part of Sales Mastery's 2019 Sales Optimization Study, we asked 425 sales enablement professionals to share with us what their top operational objectives were for the next 12 months. Now, as you start going down this list, items like optimizing lead conversion rates, achieving higher revenue targets, winning more deals, and so on, it becomes clear that in order to meet these objectives, our sales teams are not only going to have to improve their current skills, but also develop new ones. Most of the companies we surveyed reported being effective at putting together training programs designed to teach salespeople how to do things better or start doing fundamentally new and different things. But holding a training event is only part of the equation. We then have to ensure that those skills are now effectively integrated into the sales professional sales process. Now, the realization if we don't do that, the impact of the training investment we just made will quickly erode, that's pretty well documented. But research has also surfaced best practices and strategies for how to optimize skills retention. Now, organizations such as the National Training Laboratories have quantified the impact that various methods can have on training retention. Now, in the world of sales, one approach that many companies have elected to rely on is practice by doing. We put the salesperson into a role-playing situation, we ask them to apply the skills they've been taught, and actually practice conversations that they'll be having with customers and prospects. Now, we probably have all heard the old saying that practice makes perfect, but my colleague Barry Traylor often points out that that saying is actually wrong. What practice does is make things permanent. Take, for example, a golf swing. If I go out to the driving range every day and I hit 100 balls, I will make that swing permanent. Now, that's great if I am already swinging the club perfectly, but if I have a defect in my swing, I'll create muscle memory that ensures I swing that club suboptimally every time going forward. Now, in order to avoid that, what I need is a coach to critique me, to give me pointers on what to adjust in order to achieve that perfect stroke. After I know exactly what to do, then practicing that movement over and over again will help me be the best golfer I can be. Now, applying this realization to the world of sales, when we've asked companies what resources are available to coach their salespeople, number one on the list is help from sales managers. Well, this is fine in theory, but it's often challenging in reality. Numerous studies have surfaced problems relying too much on this approach. First off, do managers have really time to do this? They have a full-time job already. It's ensuring they hit revenue targets. So deal coaching often trumps skills coaching. And even if they do have time, most companies don't have a rigorous, consistent process for coaching or define metrics on what should be accomplished via coaching or a way of following up and tracking if expected improvements are being achieved or not. So we know what to do, we're just struggling with how to do it, which prompted us to ask, is there a better way? And if there is, what would better look like? So let me share with you a new approach to sales skills reinforcement coaching that surfaced when I was helping to judge the Stevie Awards for 2018. Now, the solution that won the Best New Product of the Year award was an application from a company called Brainshark that augments human-based coaching with AI and machine learning. So let's take a look at this new approach and see how it solves an age-old problem for sales. Now, in the Brainshark model, sales enablement still does what it always does. It defines what we want sales professionals to do and not do when they engage customers. It also defines the specifics for how to do it. Which stakeholders to engage, what value messages to deliver, what objections and questions to expect, and so on. Now, the machine learning component of the Brainshark system then takes over the role of the initial analysis for assessing how effective salespeople are at applying those skills. So Brainshark analyzes and scores how well a salesperson did against expectations and then provides them specific feedback to help them master those skills and concepts. One key factor that got my attention as I evaluated this solution was that the scope of analysis of the AI-enabled approach far exceeds what the average sales manager can do. By that I mean when we're listening to a sales professional do a presentation, the average person focuses on one thing at a time, such as what you're saying, how you're saying it, what does your nonverbal body language convey, what words are you using, and so on. AI can focus on multiple things at once, and it can do the analysis in less than a minute versus a manager having to listen to an entire presentation. So let's explore how it does that. I'm going to take you through a series of screenshots to show you machine learning in action. Now, the first thing the solution does is it records the salesperson delivering the presentation and then creates a transcript of what they said. Now, by analyzing the text, it assesses several things. First, it looks at how are you communicating? Are you talking at the right level for the audience that you're engaging? And am I using filler words or value words? Filler words are things like stupendous, great, innovative. Value messages are much more meaningful. We reduce total cost of ownership. We improve margins. We minimize customer churn. Now, Brainshark also evaluates how fast you're speaking and how long it takes you to cover specific topics. And lastly, it assesses how effectively you did things by analyzing the specific words you use to ensure you're covering the key concepts the right way. Next, the solution assesses the full scope of your practice session. Did you cover all the objectives that sales enablement intended for you to do? And if not, what specifically did you miss that you need to work on improving? And what could you do to make it better next time? Getting back to the robustness of the assessment, AI can generate an emotional analysis of how you're conveying information by doing facial recognition. Now, it's one thing if you tick off all the boxes you're expected to cover, but if you do so in a neutral, non-passionate way, you risk not creating a sense of urgency on the part of the prospect to actually want to do anything about the topics that you're covering with them. Now, lastly, machine learning analyzes the word choice frequency you're using. By doing so, Brainshark can give you feedback on personality style you're conveying. This is then aggregated together with all the other assessments to generate an overall practice session score seen in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. So you get an objective assessment of whether you're mastering the skills or not. While machine learning is doing the initial skills reinforcement and coaching for each sales team member, Brainshark is also keeping their manager up to date on how they're progressing. Managers can quickly see who is doing well and who's still struggling, and also get insights into exactly what area a person may have issues with. They're then in a position to do additional coaching by exception, which helps them make the best use of their own time. Peter Senge, a system scientist at MIT, laid out 5 keys for successful coaching. He said it needs to be timely, consistent, accurate, relevant, and individualized. By leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to do that first level of virtual coaching, we ensure that all 5 of those things are achieved. This is then backed up by as-needed help from sales managers. So by blending high-tech and high-touch, we can turbocharge the effectiveness of practice by doing and perfect those skills prior to going out and engaging prospects and customers in the marketplace. What does the future hold? Well, when you consider the amount of change that salespeople continually encounter, when it comes to mastering new sales skills, done never is. So we're going to be doing additional online briefings on how companies can transform what happens when a salesperson walks out of the learning lab and actually starts applying those skills in the marketplace. We found some innovative ways that AI is doing activities assessments to determine if salespeople are having meetings and calls with prospects and customers to actually apply what they've learned versus staying in their comfort zone. We've also surfaced solutions that can conduct an analysis of the conversations salespeople are having with customers and how well those interactions are going in terms of generating interest, presenting value, differentiating against the competition, and ultimately getting a commitment to buy. And across all these analyses, we found that AI can continuously do an impact assessment to determine how to fine-tune sales messages and skills so that companies can make the right changes needed to best engage customers going forward. If you want to do a deeper dive into how to improve the sales skills of your company's sales organization, here are some additional resources to consider. To access Argonne Research 2019 Tech Spectrum for Sales Coaching and Learning Report, click on this link. To access a data sheet highlighting the keys to successful sales coaching, click on this link. And if you want to contact Brainshark directly, then click on this link. Finally, if this briefing generated ideas or questions you want to explore, feel free to reach out to us directly. Now, we can either respond to your emails or we can set up a time to talk about this topic or any other sales optimization issues you may want some feedback on.